Today I'm going to be covering the 143 route, starting from Piccadilly, going to Central Road. So, first I'm on a nice 10-mile run today, nice and easy. It is race week, 10k race week for me. I love this running stuff. I love the exercise. You know, I seen a quote the other day that I love, and it was, at the age of 40, your body will be either evidence of discipline or neglect. And it's so true. You know, like, the amount of times I heard the word, oh, what you being a bore for? Years ago. Why you being a bore? Why you go out? Why you come out? What you always training for? Now, most of them same people are absolutely knackered. You know, it's never too late to start, but it's always better to invest. And it's just, I suppose it's just the way I'm wired anyway. So, you know, other people are just wired different. Anyway, 143 route, Piccadilly to Central Road. Within sure, thinking of the 43. I just want to add, I am still getting questions in the comments about how to train, what exercises to do, and general kind of help with people's running, which I don't mind helping with on the basic level, like trainers, watch, the odd session here and there, but I can't really advise anyone on a full training plan and what to do and what sessions to do every week. You know, I can give you one session, that does nothing for you. So, although these questions are fun to engage with, the best thing I would advise you to do is download the RUNNA app, put in my code, MattRuns18, and get your 2 weeks free premium coaching. Keep it, don't keep it, it's up to you. Just have a feel of it for 2 weeks and see where it stands. And you'll probably keep it. It's cheap as chips, and it'll give you a bit of guidance on recovery, sessions, how fast to run, all that stuff. So, get onto that. Now, I'm going to get onto the rest of this run. There we go. 10-mile run done, 1 hour 11 minutes, and perfect. If you're younger and you're watching this, right, the same people get into training, the same people that will be calling you a bore and, well, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? In 20 years, them same people will be asking you, what's your secret? Don't forget, if you are just getting into the running and you are just getting into the exercise, it isn't too late. It's better to do it earlier, don't get me wrong. That's just a message I'm giving out to the younger people that are just, hopefully will catch on to it and not fall down the path that most of these youngsters fall down now, and driving around on fucking e-scooters, balaclavaed up. You don't need that type of shit. Get disciplined, get in the gym. These people will get to your age when you get older, and they'll wish they did what I'm telling you to do. Now, if you are a little bit older and you're getting into the training, you don't know what to do, you're struggling for motivation, advice, you're lost where to go, you don't know what to do with recovery, like I said before, download the RUNNA app, and there's a ton of information you can plug into that app, and it will fire you out a training plan built for you. So I'm going to leave that there, get to work, get the 143 done. Right, we're going to do the route, the 143 route. To West Didsbury. We're leaving Piccadilly on time, which is about all you can ask for on your last trip out. This is my last trip out from town. It's been a bit of a hectic day, to be fair, and I'm glad it's over. So what we do is we come out of Piccadilly bus station, bash at the top here, the traffic lights will filter us round. You have to watch these 36s and 37s that are coming out from this stand here, because you never, sometimes they just pull out. It's kind of like being at the bottom where the 142s are. Come up here anyway, and let's fire out of Piccadilly. Last trip, man.
So the first bus stop out here is Charlotte Street, which is basically the Portland Tower, right? I should call it the Portland Tower. And believe it or not, people get off here. They get on at Piccadilly and they get off at Charlotte Street. I just think like that has to be a mistake, because there's no way. Sometimes you can wait for the bus. I've just seen someone legging it for the bus already, crossed over and started running for the bus. So he's going to want this bus. He's giving it legs, unless he's seen the bus behind me. Yeah, I can't get on board with this one bus stop type thing unless you're kind of like unable to move. Do you know what I mean? I've got a different way of viewing it though. Like, all from growing up, I work with, like, from being 16, work with the older school generation that basically go to work even if you had one leg. You just got told to suck it up and get it done. So here we go, first bus stop. Right, let's go. Come off that bus stop there. Now there's another bus stop. We come through here. These traffic lights here, they're going to let the X43 through now. Now when we turn here at Princess Street, all the services go this way from town. Every single one, unless we're on diversion. And depending on what service you are, depends on what bus stop you stop at. So the 43s, the 111s, the 143s, we all stop at the very first bus stop as you turn onto Princess Street. The 50s, the 85s and the 86s stop at the second bus stop on Princess Street. And there's some temporary traffic lights on Princess Street at the bottom, four-way, which, ruthless. You can't really, there's pretty much going to be a chill drive. I left Piccadilly 2 minutes late on my last trip out of town, and I still got back to Central Road early. So you just got to just take it in stride, don't panic, relax. You end up catching your time back, it's mad, without even trying. So we turn here, and straight away we've just got to look out to see if there's anyone calling for the bus. Yes, we've got someone calling for the bus. There we go. And now we come out here. Don't forget to be in your mirrors. You need to be in your mirrors. So there's the 85 in front. I'm going to get past him. Now here's where we come to the four-way traffic lights. I suppose it isn't that bad actually, because when these traffic lights are operating on a normal stratosphere, we're on a right-hand turn lane, so it gets filtered through. So like the first two buses will get through. If you're the third bus behind, you won't get through. You'll have to wait in. You will get through, but you'll have to wait in traffic, because by that time the lights on the other side have turned green and the filter's turned off. So these stay on green a little bit longer, but then I suppose you've got to wait a little bit longer for them to cycle through. Well, either way, this is it now. Then we turn onto Whitworth Street. There's one bus stop on Whitworth Street we serve on the left, and not really a popular one. Neither here nor there where you stop at it. Now, if on the way back here, I don't seem the very chirpy, enthusiastic, positive self what people say I am, that's just because this is the last trip of the day. But I'm going to do my best to make it a good one, yeah? So I've just had about just under 10 minutes in Piccadilly. You've got to watch out, man. Like, people just walk into the road, and it is just mad in town. People will just walk into the road. Right, now come through here. Now when there's a bus in front of you like this, like the 197 is, you best just slow it down a bit, especially when it's approaching the stop in front, just to see if anyone wants the bus. Because if you tailgate it too much, you'll miss people calling for the bus, and if you overtake it, you'll definitely miss people. So stick your indicator on here, turn at Oxford Road Station. Now this is where two of the services separate. The 101 and the 103 carry on straight over here. It was on diversion for quite a while, doing a left down Oxford Road. That was mint. We got a message on the ticket machine. Overtime. Can anyone do the 103, the airport to Piccadilly? At 8 o'clock. No can do. Right, so that message, when they send messages out, they say generic message they send to everyone, and then most of the time people will just snap that overtime up and just be like, yeah, I'll have it. But tonight I didn't get my run done this morning, so I'm just giving my legs a little bit of extra rest. So I'm going to get my run done when I get back. And I've got 8 miles to run when I get back, so I won't be thinking about coming back to work and driving the 103, let me tell you that. So we turn left here and we serve the very end stop. On all of these stops now on Oxford Road, we serve the very end stop. The 85 and the 86s and the 85As, they serve the first stop. We serve the very end stop. Right. That was a mad one, that. One person got off, no one was getting on next minute. I had people running for the bus and people calling out for the bus, so then I ended up waiting. Right. Red light cameras there. Got to be careful going through there. Up here now. We serve the end stop on every one of these stops. So sometimes this can be a bit problematic because you've got the 197 here. So we're going to have to go around it, yeah? Because then you've got the 85 at that stop there. And he's pulling off, look, see? So you're kind of giving him the room to pull off while you're pulling in. You've got the 197 coming out as well. This is madness, this. Right, come out of that stop now. This is like madness hour as well, so you get madness hour with the cars, where people are all driving around, rushing around, but you get madness hour on the buses as well, where people are legging it to the bus stop because they've just finished work, they're late, they see the bus, they want to come and catch it and all that sort of stuff. So you get a lot of people in the cameras in the mirrors running for the bus. If you see them, great, stop for them, wait for them if you've got time. You can't obviously wait for everyone or you'd never move. So we have got 5 minutes before we've got to be at the MRI, which, don't know, probably maybe be a bit late for that stop. So we'll come out here anyway. There's people at this bus stop. There's probably going to be people at every one of these stops. This is the Manchester Aquatics bus stop. The next bus stop is the museum one. So the next bus stop is the museum one, Manchester Museum, well, Manchester University, but I just call it the museum one because it's basically opposite that massive big museum. I need to bring the kids up here at some point. Right, so the 85 and the 86s do a right there at the Royal Northern College of Music. If you've seen that on my other video, you'll know that already. What you have got to be careful of coming up this road now at particular certain times of the day, yeah, is cyclists, because you'll be sat at the traffic lights and all of a sudden it's the Tour de France and they're in front on the bus on the AVL, they're there next to you, they're everywhere, and they're ruthless. And there's like bike lanes here, what? They're designated for cyclists, but they don't want to queue up in them and they'll pull out into the bus lane and they'll even come round and try and overtake the bus. So even though there's 2 perfect cycle lanes there that are pretty wide for the cyclists, you've got to be careful because you won't expect them on your right hand side and they will be here on your right hand side. So pull up against this bus stop here. Now pull off here. This museum here, this is mint. This just reminds me of the picture 200 years ago, 300 years ago. This looks like something that would be in the middle of a field somewhere that you'd be defending with swords and spears, you know what I mean? This is just, that's just the top building now. Right, anyway, we come down here and then the next bus stop isn't till we go through these lights, past the Holy Name Church, which this church here, biggest church in Manchester, FYI if no one knew that, the biggest church in Manchester, absolutely belting, good 200 years old now. Around here, I mean Manchester Universities themselves, they're 200 years old, so we served the last bus stop. Now we are more or less on time, we've got 3 minutes to serve this bus stop and serve the next bus stop. So we've got one taker there. So you just never know, like most of them people at that bus stop there, they could be waiting for the 111 or the 43, which is basically an extension of this route. This stops at Central Road and the 43 continues on to Manchester Airport. So we've got the MRI next to us there, the Manchester Royal Infirmary, and this is a timing point which we are 1 minute early for, which by the time anyone's got off and on, it'll be good time to go. Have a nice day. Oh man, there's actually a cycle counter there. It tells you how many cyclists have been up. Cyclists today going up Oxford Road, 673 as of 20 to 5. And then there's one this year, it totals the whole year. I can't see that actually. It's like 160,000 or something like that, which is madness in itself. Just check how good my eyeballs are. No, 375,000 cyclists have gone up Oxford Road this year. That's crazy. Right, now up here you got St Mary's. This is the next stop, St Mary's. On the left. Now you gotta be, there's pedestrian lights here at Whitworth Park. You gotta be careful here. Get through these. The next set of lights you go through. We serve the very first bus stop on the stand, not the last one. So we've been serving the last bus stop on the stand, but this time we serve the first bus stop on the stand outside Poundland. Of a Friday and Saturday night, there's a diversion round Rusholme where we do a left here on Haversage Road, and we go all the way to the top. We do a right up Upper Brook Street, and we continue down, and we do a right on Dickinson Road, and we come back onto the Winslow Road, Oxford Road, Winslow Road at Platt Lane, and we continue the service from there, a normal route, and that is just to avoid the Curry Mile on a weekend because it's so busy. And you'll realise why it's so busy when you drive through it, and it smells so nice because everyone's out here having nice meals and takeaways and all that sort of stuff, and it just gets the traffic in there. You're just never getting through. It's literally like a 5-minute drive through Rusholme, but of a weekend, kiss goodbye to that. So you've got the cyclists here. See, some of them you've got to be careful because they'll just rush out in front of the bus to try and overtake the cyclist in front of them. So we serve the first bus stop here, which you can get a mixture of people here, sometimes even a wheelchair. Here's one for you. Everyone that has got off and got on this bus so far could have got on the 111 or this one, or the 43, or the 142. And there's probably a couple more that they could have got on. So when you're in Piccadilly and you put your numbers up, and there's nobody at the stand, and people are just knocking about and you've got no one there, there's always someone at the 43 stand, but what I mean is people that are waiting at the 111 stand or whatever can just see the numbers go up first, and you're going that same way. The 111 here does a right down Moss Lane East, and that disappears and does its own thing, what I was doing this morning. The 143 carries on, so now this is selective to only the people that was going to get the 142, the 143 and the 43. We come through here now. There's about 3 bus stops through Rusholme, 4 even outbound, but there's only 2 inbound. It's better coming through Rusholme this way than it is going out Rusholme that way, because there's just less bus stops. I don't know why there's so many on the way out. Even if it's an extra one, it's like, it's a mile, do you know what I mean? I've got that mindset again. You know what I mean, honestly, when I started school years ago, when I started work after school, I started 16 working on building sites. I was just working with just old school people that you couldn't make an excuse up with. You'd have to have an arm that has fallen off and they'd just sellotape it, but do you know what? You get what I'm saying? It's a different type of mentality. Rusholme gets a lot busier like everywhere in September. There's a college at the back of it. There's Zavarian College, I think it is, and it's over there on the left. So as you're pulling into Rusholme on the 43, that first bus stop down there, all of a sudden you just see an outpouring of just kids just coming out of one of these side streets here, and they all want the bus, like on the dinner break or after school's over. You know what I mean? You get to learn like where the busiest stops are going to be. But it's also a tight little gaff to drive through as well. Rusholme. The parking can be a bit unruly because as you're going through the place, if a gap opens up here on my left, people, if they're looking to park, they'll just stop and reverse park into the gap. So you've got to be cautious of that. There's the man. So we come up here, we've got no one at this bus stop, but someone wants to get off at it. So obviously we're going to pull over there. Actually gets, have a nice day. It actually gets a little bit tight. Okay, you know, the only thing that kills you on bus stops is as you're pulling out of a bus stop, cars are just scooping past you and they just take, like, I think I just got overtook them by about 6 cars. So we're coming up here now. I think that college is up there. This is a bit of a tight gap. It's not bad when you're taking it at this speed, but when there's a little bit of space, it can get not dangerous, but a bit cautious here, because you're not going through slow. But yeah, bit of a tight gap now. This is the last bus stop in Rusholme, and there's a car there with its hazards on. We should be getting to the Platt Lane timing point. 16:49. We get there on time. I'll watch that car. It's plenty of bus stop here. Right, now we're off. See if anyone lets us out here. Someone hooking up our side. Oh look, he didn't even let us out. He's come right from round our side and not let us out. Oh my god, and another one. Someone begging with a cup in the middle of the road at the junction here on the lights. That's you never get asked for anything like that on a bus, but you have got to be wary of people just hanging about there. Right, so we have now got 1 minute before we leave here. Right, let's get out of Dodge here. That's the last timing point of the day. That has been met perfectly. There's Platt Fields there, Platt Hall on the right. Now, I've done plenty of speed sessions in that park. There's a lake in there that you can run around, which is perfect. Speed camera up here, by the way. 30-mile-per-hour road. It's a bit of a speed trap, this road. It's one of them roads where you have to really watch it. You know the speed of your vehicle, but sometimes if you press the accelerator, not even half as much as what you would do, because it goes downhill, it can speed up unsuspectingly, so you have to always keep an eye on that. Yeah, there's a lake there in Platt Fields that I've ran round loads of times, and there's another part to it as well where you can run round. That's a nice loop. So this is a bit of a popular bus stop. These two after the timing point are actually, there was nobody at the first one, but you've just got to watch the cyclists here, because every time you pull into a bus stop here, you're pulling into the cycle lane. You've got to be careful. He's letting me out. That's good of him. Good man. Right, so yeah, there's actually a cycle lane that the cyclists are nowhere near the road. It's separated, but when you pull into these stops, you pull into the cycle lane. So you've got to be cautious. I can't even stress how much you've got to be cautious. Right. So now we're approaching Fallowfield, and then after Fallowfield, we're at Withington, and then we've made it. Nobody's at that stop, nobody's at the bell. This is a bit of an emerging lane here where the traffic here has to come round from the bus lane, in front of the bus lane, so you've got to be careful there, because indicating traffic will come in. Then we go through these lights here on the junction of Wilbraham Road. Always be cautious here as well, because they don't stay on green for very long. And then again, you've got your cycle lane on the left here, which isn't separated until you get to about here. So you've got to be cautious there. Now, there's another set of lights here, which usually are timed with them lights. So unless there's heavy traffic, you'll usually go through these on green. Never take it for granted. Then you have the Friendship Inn, which on the way out is not as busy as it is on the way in. Unless you're the 43. If you're the 43, it's always busy. But when you're the 143 here at the Friendship Inn, you've not really got to go far left in your journey. You're literally through Withington up here, and then the service ends. So people that are getting the bus there, not that nobody does because someone just got on, but it's more popular with the 43. This is a bit of a popular stop as well, just after. A lot of people that get on and off the bus at these kind of stops that are just really close together. It's not like they're like old people or anything like that. They can move about. They could do with just moving these stops further up abreast up the road, because they're just too close together. Like now, we're all the way down here. There's one at the bottom of the road here, which is Derby Road one. Which, again, if you're the 43, you're going to always stop here more or less on busy times. The 143, not so much. Because we're approaching Central Road now and not far away, so these bus stops here, you're not really going to pick many people up at them. You're just more or less going to be dropping people off. Be careful going through these lights here, because that's a bit of a mad junction on Maldive Road there. It's a turning junction where people are waiting, do you know what I mean? And sometimes people don't give you enough. They think you can stop on a penny. You can't. We're stopping at Withington Library anyway to alight some passengers, which is a funny term, alight passengers, but that's what it's called. You don't really pick many people up from there, because have a good day, pal.
Cheers, mate.
We've got about, I'll tell you what, from memory, I'll count how many bus stops there's left now. There is 4 bus stops, that's including the final one. Got the first bus stop, then you've got the Christie, and then you've got Circular Road, and then you've got Central Road. And you're not really picking anyone up here, you're just dropping people off, and the 43's in front. So the 43's doing its job and it's scooping people up along the way there. These lights can be a bit tricky, right? So people that pull up at this junction here, this is a right hand turning junction and a straight ahead junction. Now you can get stuck behind a lot of cars doing a right turn here, and they won't indicate until they get to the corner, which they should indicate way before. So what I like to do here, always keep an eye on your mirrors, but leave a bit of a gap. So if someone whacks their indicator on last minute, you can go around them and make it through. Otherwise, you can be sat here behind this fancy and you'll think, oh, cool, look, he's just put his indicator on at the last minute. Yeah, so if you got too close to him and he's stuck there, you can't move, and then the lights have cycled to red again, and you're waiting, you can be waiting a good 3 or 4 minutes there. So you come round here, you just have to be a bit cautious, and then bang, we're straight ahead. We're stopping at the first bus stop because we're letting people off here. This is the Palatine Road bus stop, Winslow Road. Have a good day, mate. Now, there's only 2 more bus stops on this road. One of them being the Christie, which you won't pick anyone up at, but people do get off at, because they get on at town specifically for the Christie, because it's such a popular place. For negative reasons, because you're poorly if you're going in there or you're working there. So there's that. Then after that, that bus stop's not really that popular, Circular Road. So the people waiting at the Christie are usually waiting for the 43, but the 43 has just gone. You rarely get people here calling for the bus to go 200 yards up the road. Right, nobody's wants it and nobody's called for it off. Nobody wants to get off. So there's 2 more bus stops now. Circular Road, which nobody's pressed the bell for. Now once we get past this stop, that is it. That is the trip done. Over. This is the last stop we pull in at. We can clear the bus stop, put not in service on. Sometimes you can put help required down there, calls emergency services. People have done that, and the depot has sent messages out going, watch what you're putting on your blinds. Not to me, to like accidents that can happen where people just put it on. Right, so now we're just going to check the bus is empty and then we're going to get out of here. Right, that is an empty bus. Now we can go dead back to the depot and we get around this bus. We've got 2 buses here. We've got the 41 and I believe the 43. Maybe. Well, that's just because it's school time. But anyway, that's been the 143 route, outbound from Piccadilly to Central Road. Now we are back to the depot, going there, out of service, finish the day.